take a real hard look at our finances before we do anything. Cause you may have, 10 of them on there that are in this program. Now you're up to 45,000.
You don't have 10 members.
Yeah.
The bill, that'd be the whole department,
I think I'd come here if you're offering that service.
I think it's a good program. I think it's a great program for full-time people. I mean, when we have positions open to put the man in full-time, I see much more benefit to it. I just know that if he gets a certificate, he's not sticking around. Not 6 shifts a month, is he?
I don't know.
It's a 1.5-year program.
Roughly,
Let me phrase it this way, Tom, would you stick around?
No.
yeah, but this is my home, you know what I mean, so, yeah.
I mean, take that, put that aside.
If I'm looking to work part-time and I'm a new paramedic, then yeah, this is the place to be. This is what we're doing with the younger paramedics that are coming up through now doing ride time with us. They're all in, you know, because they get good experience. The younger guys wanna be busy, it's the older guys that don't. That's why, like, Tom Rush, for example, you know, he sits down in Warren City, he doesn't have to run an ambulance, he can go to Bristol and run maybe a call a day. He's lazy, bottom line. But he's been in service for a while, doesn't wanna be busy anymore. But for a new paramedic, that's what they want.
Yeah, but you can get a paramedic in, like Doug said, go to other places and run a whole lot less calls than he would if you were to be employed here.
Rex has that thing out of the newspaper today. I don't know how many people saw that. It's an alarming, it's kind of frightening.
You can't even count Niles. They took a
I
fire,
don't-
yeah, they took a fire truck through an ambulance.
Right, I get it, but the fear is that the realization when you look at that is how many calls we're running with how few people. So you've got, can I see that?
Well, and that's kind of what I'm saying is, you know, it's hard to find paramedics now. It really is. You know, so if.
How many full-time guys have we got? 6 guys.
Yep.
Howland ran 1,000 calls more than us. How many full-time people do they have?
28.
28. How many people does Cortland have on?
They have 6 full-time.
6 full-time.
Oh, no, 9, I'm sorry.
They ran 2,100 calls.
Didn't they go to 11?
They haven't hired yet, but yeah.
They'll go back to 11. Other questions about this? It says here that Southington did 618 calls. It says we did 2427. Are 618 of those calls included both of those rosters?
No, I mean, some of those, they do a lot of mutual aid with Farmington, so.
Who does?
Southington.
Southington's running mutual aid to Farmington. They can't staff their own station for Southington. How the hell are they doing Farmington?
I understand. They have a joint response on motor vehicle accidents and wires down, trees down, CO checks, stuff like that.
There's that many crashes in Farmington? We need to put a truck up. I get it. You know, I don't know how you stop it. I mean, Rex said there's some stuff in there Mahoney County's doing. I have not read that article yet, so. I saw something on, it was on one of the news channels a week or so ago, that there was a guy in the waiting room at the emergency room. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Who called 911 to get an ambulance, to take him from the emergency room the other side, so he could bypass waiting in the emergency room.
People have this, you know, they have false information that if you go by ambulance, you'll get into the emergency room quicker. That is not true. There's a lot of times that we'll take them right to the emergency room, they get off our cot, and they walk right into the waiting room, and then they're mad at us.
Well,
When does the next program start, Tom?
After this, I don't know. Just depends on, I mean, they schedule. It's not a regular.
we'll do it this one. You're chair.
I think stand firm on what you said. Not gonna work at this time.
Yeah, I don't think I can either.
Okay.
If we had a full-time position available that we were moving him into, it would be on this for certain, but without that, I can't. I just can't gamble in township's money on that one.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do you know anything about this program, Loudon County starting? They say that, EMS committee is working to develop public education about when a person should call an ambulance versus driving herself or himself to a physician's office or urgent care.
Yeah, we post that stuff all the time, to be honest with you. We've shared it, during COVID, after COVID, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I think some people, feel that their tax money is paying for that ambulance and they have the right to use it.
Yeah, agreed. I think you're right.
Does anybody else have anything else for Tom?
I don't, but I'd like to, soon, have you come to a Tuesday night meeting where we can sit down and get a little more in depth to where that department's at, where it's going, what it needs.
Okay.
Because like I said, I have some pretty serious concerns.
Tom, last thing I have is that as we go for all department heads, hopefully you guys have all turned your inventory in. It's due today. Unfortunately, it's due today. And, just a statement. Thank you, Tom. So let's, move right along here to the Fund Rex's agenda.
It's the
With,
one you gave me.
Police Chief Larry Skaggs.
That's gonna be at the end of it. So our year-to-date and our monthly statistics, go over those first. For the month, we had 374 calls. Between us and the way we report it in the 911 system, there's a difference of 11 calls. Some of that was traffic stops, but they didn't generate a CAD. We completed 13 traffic crash investigations, 24 traffic stops, 6 citations, 3 adult arrests, 2 juvenile arrests, 6 warrants were filed as a result of an investigation, and 62 criminal incident reports. Some of the highlights for December, which I believe was a really good month for us. Each officer finally completed all 24 hours of their required training. We did Shop with a Cop, which was very successful and fun. We took 11 children to Target. Each child got approximately $225 to spend. It was really rewarding. We provided 5 Christmas dinners. One of those dinners we had to have prepared because they didn't have gas in their home to make the dinner. We've completed the safe exchange zone. Sean got us a sign for the building now with the new cameras up. We've already had some people taking advantage of that, whether it was custody exchanges. We've upgraded the police station lobby with a slideshow and announcement, so any of the township announcements can now be put on the announcement board television, so as people are in the lobby waiting for an officer, they get to see those and some of the history behind the township. Officer Lowry created the slideshow. It's really well done. We did one undercover case, a fugitive apprehension. We served 3 search warrants. We completed joint training with the fire department, as Chief Dempsey said, with, for CPR, stop the bleed class, and with the University Hospital. And that was free of charge, so. Our plans for January of 2023, we are completing our evidence room protocol update. As of right now, we've identified almost 450 pieces of evidence that need destruction or forfeiture. Some of these have been over there for at least 15 to 20 years. The last destruction that I could see that was done by the department was over 15 years ago. We're implementing new software for evidence accountability. That's something I'm really big on, so we don't have this again, this issue. It cost us $356 worth of software, and we were able to work with Fire Captain Quiggle. He completed the programming. We've created our own programming. Software for this type of system would have cost us $30,000 at least. Quiggle and I had sat down, we developed this system that we wanted to run, so I can also do audits and anything that's in the evidence room at any time. I can pull a case up and say, hey, where's that knife, where's that gun, where's that drugs? We can pull it up and it's audited. I think it was a great job by Quiggle for sure, to be able to do that. We've continued to collaborate with the chiefs from Bezetta, Cortland, Warren Township for grant writing applications. We've already reached out to Trumbull County and Niles about some applications that they did earlier in 2022. Carol Pasco, pastoral potter certificate, starts her employment on the 15th with her 1-year probationary period. We've also extended our search for part-time officers, again, to reach out, see if we can get any more part-time guys. Right now, it's really tough. We are going to be updating our Champion Local Schools Title IX training with the administration. We will be sitting down with the administration to go over that exactly and how that pertains to law enforcement. As I explained to Mr. Templeton a couple weeks ago, or even last week, the AMPSDLA, the Defense Logistics Agency's website for obtaining military surplus, we've been approved for that. We're just having a problem. It's not liking our township certificates on the computer, so we had to have Joel come in, update all of our certificates on the computer, so hopefully eventually Sean will be able to look at all that stuff. It's just, for whatever reason, it doesn't like our computers. So Joel can't explain it, so I know I can't explain it. Excuse me. For the year, we're up 822 calls from last year, almost 4,400 calls total. You can do the math, it's a pretty big amount for the amount of officers we have. With that, you can see attached to your guys' run sheets provided by 911. You can see what type of calls those were from. Everything from suicides to just assisting the fire department, property crashes, alarm drops, they're all up. So all those calls are up for the year. You have my inventory completed. That is in the back of your packets. The only question I have, and I posed this question to Mr. Templeton earlier, was Lexipol. We received a bill from Lexipol, which I was unaware of this, for $5,400 for continued service for policy and procedure manual. And that covers just from 1/1/23 to 12/31/23. So that's 1 year's payment for Lexipol. It doesn't have to be paid this month. I have reached out to them for some clarification exactly what did the original $19,000 that we pay for, and I haven't heard back yet. If this $5,000 is every year that we're gonna get it, the same amount, or does that change? Is that, to me, that seems high, but I really don't know of any alternative right now that we could use. I think it's a necessity that we need to look at within the next month or so to probably pay. I have the AMPS module for you, I know you, and I'm gonna go over it with Sean, so. Other than that, that's all I have at this time.
Does anybody have any questions for the chief?
Yeah, Larry, we used to, get an officer activity thing, so like it would show January, there was, 256 calls. Officer Lowry handled 30 of them, Officer Evans handled 100 of them, because Officer Lowry doesn't do anything, so. Can you include that back a little bit in?
Yeah.
It's not really as much about, which officer's doing anything, it's, so I'd like to look at that so I can see what shift, where the majority of that's going on at. And, so yeah, you never, I would never expect that the midnight turn guy's gonna do nearly the amount of calls that a day turn guy's gonna do, but it's, give you a good idea of what's going on, so I appreciate that if I can get that.
Well, that's exactly why we moved the evidence collection and retention, from Officer Maine. He was doing a great job. He was just getting overwhelmed with the influx of calls coming in on day turn and afternoon, so we moved it to midnight turn. So during any of the slow periods, they're not out looking for stuff. They can be keeping track of the evidence.
The $356 to Quiggle, Captain Quiggle. Is that billed, how's that?
That was not to Quiggle. That is to a software company.
Yeah.
We had to buy the software so he can make these programs.
Just for FileMaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're also using it to generate some accountability sheets, as I call them. Just for instance, so as an officer completes his daily shift, we'll track each one of those. Did he handle 3 reports, 2 traffic crashes, 2 citations, 8 hours worked, or 6 hours worked, 2 hours vacation? That'll all be tabulated per month. So that's where our data will come from those. Quiggle is also in the process of making that program now using the same FileMaker software.
Is he charging the police department to do any of this?
No, he spent a lot of time on it, I know, and FileMaker is what we use in the firehouse for all of our payroll, for part-time and full-time, any training reports, overtime, everything we use is in one spot right there. Inventory.
It's light years ahead of where we are. So it's absolutely a wonderful, wonderful
Thank you
thing
for
that
his
we've done.
assistance. Appreciate it. That's all I got.
Larry, one thing, the training thing that we talked about today, you feel that our next meeting, I think, will be next Tuesday, or will it be 2 weeks before we have our next meeting?
Be next Tuesday.
Yeah, it'll be next Tuesday, okay, you can hold off on that till next Tuesday.
I believe we can hold off till February's meeting if it's
Oh, for
okay.
February, okay, great.
They don't seem to be in a rush.
On the list.
I think we can hold out till the first Monday in February.
Okay, let's do that then. Let's do that. Nobody else have anything else for the chief, then, we'll go to the zoning inspector, Rhonda Fons.
Zoning report for December 22. I issued 1 permit. There was a permit for 1 house. There was a variance application filed. Year-to-date values is $2,996,060.75. Year-to-date fees, $20,320. Attended the zoning commission public hearing, and there is a packet for the trustees to set a public hearing for a change, text amendment change. That's my inventory. attended the Eagle View Map Program training.
So you must have approved that.
Yeah. I think you have to schedule first reading, it's gonna be 2 readings, I think. Exactly what we have to do, but.
Ron, on this, zoning change here that you presented us here, does this take 2 readings?
I believe it only takes one. On the side, I have the list of exactly what you need to do right down here. Set a public hearing within 30 days of receiving this. You'll need to have a publication in the newspaper 10 days prior. And then you need to make a decision 20 days, at least within 20 days of that public hearing. And that amendment will be effective 30 days after the decision.
20 days, within 20 days.
And then after 30 days, then I will file that with the county recorder. So you
Okay.
just need to have one hearing for that,
Within 30 days?
within 30 days after receiving this packet.
Okay, so we'll review this packet here at our next meeting, we can, make that the first, hearing.
Yeah, you can have a hearing, you only need one hearing. You're either going to accept their recommendation or deny their recommendation from the zoning board.
Do you want to, table this until the,
We have to have a
next
hearing
meeting to review
within
this?
20 days of the meeting, so it's 2 meetings, and yeah, we'll do to get this done, right?
No, one.
Just one.
One public hearing.
And then you just do it the following meeting.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
I'm fine with that, we usually do that. If the regular meeting's 6:30, we usually do this at 6 o'clock. So, but you gotta set up the hearing first, so. And just, to hold up, before we do this, I don't know if you wanna do this right now, hold on, let's go,
Okay.
we'll get to this and do business.
Good. Anything else for,
Well, yeah, on the update for the abatement on, 455 Prentice Road, the demo's complete. There was confirmation of the found well and septic and proper abandonment followed in accordance with the state and local regulations. Final inspections were done, and as soon as we get a bill, I did, call and, leave a message with the contractor, to, give us the bill, and then we'll file a mechanic's lien and a tax lien on that property. I did remove 62 off-premises business signs. And I see there was more up already again.
Yeah,
505.86 on the 6149 Schaefer Road. We did receive the title request from Valley Title, and, we did notify the lien holders, and we're waiting for all those notifications to come back. And then we will see which ones we get back, and if we need to put an ad in the paper of the ones we aren't able to locate. On the very back is the yearly comparison. I do have to make a correction at the very bottom, for the valuations for this year. I started this before I had all the calculations done, and that's why the values are changed, but, so for year-to-date for valuations for this year, $2,996,060.75, and year-to-date fees, $20,320. And I can amend this and put a amended copy in your packets. We have the exact same amount of permits issued this year as last year. And I did an increase in the fees. Variances are up. There were 4 this year as opposed to, I think because of COVID, they were down the years before. Garage sale permits were up, but all the figures are there. And that's all that I had.
Does anybody have any questions for the zoning inspector on the farms?
I do. This,
Early.
the variance application for 4050 Brookside Drive, but the one in regards to taking down the house and leaving the garage stand,
Yes,
when will that occur? Is there any
I do
idea?
believe it's going to be this week.
That's
So,
4050 done.
4050 Brookside Drive, and I have some concerns with that, and I know that, I've had a couple other properties in the township where they've taken down the houses and left the garages